Physical.
Thank you. Thank you. I need a motion for the acceptance of the agenda. Kevin? Second? Aisha? So we need to strike, go to the page 4, the memorandum of agreement. We're going to strike that. There's been an issue. Someone contacted the LRS for the support staff. They apparently didn't like this agreement. So we're going to pull it for now. So this agreement was written because when the liaison committee met, we decided that there were 187 days on their calendar, so they only are by contract allowed 186. So because of that, May 24th was a day that they would not work. So trying to be inclusive of everyone here, all of our staff, if you remember at the last board meeting, we all agreed to give the rest of the bargaining units that day off. So apparently there's a problem with that. I guess we can make them come to work and they can sit there. But anyway, we're striking that for tonight. All right, any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, the acceptance of the consensus agenda. Can I have a motion, please? Heidi, second. Kevin? Look through that. We have one retirement on Kathleen Gorman. How many years has she been here, Ashley? You know?
About 31.
Wow. That's awesome. So good luck to her. All right, any other questions? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna skip to the Questar vote. Apparently they are wanting us to do this as soon as we can. Okay. Yeah, they are, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do a motion and a second for each one of the candidates, so that's what we'll do. So I need a motion for Mrs. Mary Daly. Can I have a motion, please? Kevin, second. Heidi. Any questions? Correct. Yes. All in favor? Thank you. Need a motion for Mr. Joseph Garland. Kevin? Heidi? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Need a motion for John C. Hill. Motion? Kevin, second. Ron? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion for Mary Eurista. I hope I'm saying her name right. Motion, please. Kevin, second. Carrie? All in favor? Thank you. Now the budget for the Questar budget. I need so the Questar budget will be $7,152,804. Motion, please. Joe, second. Terry, any questions on that budget? All in favor? All right, so now we can go back to our regular scheduled program. All right, so we have presentations by Dr. Sandra Gardner. Update on our mid-year academics. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving your time on this. As you know, part of the budget process, part of the your academic update on the school report card, although I typically less school report card data is available. We did that in the fall, so this is the same format that you can this year. And I'm going to go through it relatively quickly. They'll ask me to cover the plus stars. So,
We can take a little more time now because we switched it around, Sandra.
oh, okay.
And so that, yeah, that was
Okay,
this afternoon when we,
okay.
but if we do need to have a workshop or something more in-depth questions, of course, that's totally acceptable to do that.
We can absolutely do that, and like always, have questions about data, you can always reach out to me personally, I'm very glad to go through that. So whenever we look at data, we should start with our mission statement, why we're here, that's why we're looking at data. So, I'm just putting our mission statement up there, we are here for our students and community, while use 21st century skills, provide opportunities to motivate, engage, and encourage individuals to rise to their full potential as contributing members of society. And that's the frame of reference we use to look at our data. We've seen these many times. We have not changed them over the years. We have these in place before COVID, and I think it's good. Keep them in place because that gives us our benefits. This is what we were looking at before COVID. We were continuing to do that. So we look at each of these targets and the data that we typically look at this time of the year in regards to those targets. So the first one is increased graduation rate. This is a 4-year rate, and wanted to be at 88%. State requires before in order not to be identified 80%. 5-year rate of 90% and the 6-year rate of 90%. So we had some pretty high targets there for ourselves, which is a good thing, right? And this is a piece of what you can find on the state report card. I also put the links there so that you could go directly to it because there's more pieces that I took out to make the slide a little bit more visible. Couple things I want to point out to you. We were 83%, so we were above that 80%. Still want to do better, but we're above the 80%. And our females were really strong at 93%. You have heard me say before, at times our male population does not perform as well when you look at the data as our female, and we're constantly watching that and monitoring that, make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. So what I did do though is put a lightning bolt next to the Division diploma because that was actually pretty equivalent and showed a good progress in that area. Dropout rate for males is a little on the higher end compared to the rest, as well as our special education population. Dropout rate has us doing some pondering. We've talked in the past about our Hispanic and Latino population. Again, we try to match it to what's happening, and at 79%, that's a pretty close match. As well as our economically exchange, it has had a wider gap in the past. So in this particular cohort, it was fairly close to the goal. Any questions on graduation there? Okay, this is another way to look at our graduation rate. Remember, we had those targets. So 88%, our actual was 83%. If we look at the 5-year, we would like to be at 90%. We were at 82% with that class. And we measure this by the cohort group that comes in as their freshman year. So I anchor it as the class, but it is really measured by the group of students that come in ninth grade. And that's how the state does it, so that's why we do that. And then our 6-year, 92, that's 77%. That was the class of 2020. We all know what happened March 16th in 2020. But I will tell you that class was on track to have a low graduation rate before. It didn't happen just in one. And then, this year rates for the other classes are below that. Okay. So we're looking at this year's data. So we're working off a number of 108. That's the cohort that entered as freshmen. Right now, we're looking at 97 students with us. Some leave because they go to other schools, and then we have these other situations. So we actually had 2 students, a little unusual to have that many, graduate early. So they actually graduated last year. And, that's really something I think we might start to see a rise in as students become more in control of their own legacy. So we have more options out there. In this case, we chose to take classes at Columbia Union in the summer and double up their junior year so that the children can use their English requirements year in their year, and that was a choice they made. And one I was really proud of because I was able to work with that student to do so, and that student was looking at going home. So anytime you can actually have them end up with that. So people graduate early. Right now, we feel we have 7 at risk. Looks like we're going to have 1 that will stay enrolled with us for another year, so that 1 would figure in the 5-year rate. At this point, we have 8 that have dropped out. And we have 2 alternatively assessed. The state does not count CDOS towards graduation. So we have to consider that. And we have 1 right now that has been passed GED program. They used to call it GED, then they went to testing and we're back in. That's why it's happening on both players. Questions on that one?
Great. The standard every year.
I think that's better than usual by this point in time. Wasn't better than last year, but we're doing better.
Let me ask you something. For the dropout, is there like a common, because I'm sure everybody talks to them, so is there like a common thing like families not backing them or, they're forced to work, where they're not having enough time for school or, is there like a common thing that you find?
Yes, attendance.
Really?
Attendance, if they're not here, it makes it very difficult for the teacher
Yeah.
to work with them. And
Which probably is family or,
yes, which leads to family, which could lead to working, but
yeah.
when they're not here, it makes it very difficult. There's the relationship and the rest of it happening. So, a few years ago, we, moved, credits down to 8th grade. And that has helped with, in 8th grade, hopefully, with a foreign language credit as well as a credit. So they go with 8th and 9th grade with 2 credits, and we find that we can get our students to get 7 credits by the end of 9th grade. Then they're more likely to think, if you look at all of them. We can do a workshop on that.
So it's, just so you know that this number right here, is not, I mean, kids move for different reasons. So the state doesn't care. They still count them against us. So it's a little deceiving. You're better off going by, this number here, as opposed to looking at the 97.
It's really hard to figure out the statement because of that. We can kind of estimate it like I have up here, but we don't get to track students once they leave us. And really challenging. So we do our very best. This data with the 3 fighting bolts there looks better than it has. So we're really.
But the ones that are at risk and dropping out, they're not. Are they part of like maybe kids that are moving out of the?
No, those are, we have 8 that have dropped and
From the freshman year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, they move, they go to a different state, they don't register. You can't do it.
yes, if they go to a different state, don't ever register, then they kind of drop out of it.
Right.
So the next one is to increase average proficiency level by 0.4 in the elementary reading, writing, and mathematics. So we do use our state exams to look at that, but we also use NWA data. So this is a master sheet of the growth at each grade level, and the content areas that we test at that grade level. This is not typical of what you usually see at this point in the school year when I show this slide. We usually don't have as much red there. So the red is indicating that the students are not growing as much as they would typically grow based on the NWA 2021. So I'm hoping that, you know, things change around by June, but, you know, I have to be honest, this is not our typical. Some of the things we've looked at regarding has had lots of conversations about they're doing a lot of good work in science and community awareness, and they are using decodable readers heavier, but they acknowledge that maybe they spent too long in the first semester into the decodable for getting them into our reading. So they're looking at adjusting that part of their curriculum. So looking to make some curriculum adjustments as well as frankly, we do have some new staff, and you know it takes a while to learn the curriculum and understand and all the pieces that you have in place to differentiate things like that. So that may be raised now. Any questions on it? Grade 6.
Can you speak to that, Sandra?
That it's lower.
Yeah.
I really can't give you any definitive. It's, you know, again, looking at the curriculum, making sure that we're spending enough time in reading and language usage and mathematics. Truthfully, I was very surprised by that because we had actually some additional time at that grade level in both the classroom and the math. We have Mary Sufo and Diane Cooper teaching every other day, in addition to the 40-minute period they have in their regular mathematics and ELA class. So
We had a number of students that didn't complete the tests well in 6th grade.
Also, they're in science.
And keep in mind, this is not good, you know, and we've already started working with each grade level, discussing all of these things. This is one data point. I mean, there are other things that go along with this as well, but Sandra's correct. You know, we've got work that we need to do.
I'm not panicking at this point. I'm anxious to see June results. And you know, that's why we do this. You know, some have asked, why do we test in the winter? Testing in the winter allows us to make necessary adjustments to make sure that our June results are right. And typically we do well in NWA. So I'm not anxious about it. I'm concerned. And I do believe we've had all the right conversations forward and correct this. And this is sitting here, we have our flows that change on this, so we're looking at it and we're having good discussions and those discussions will make us all better and we're learning. So let's look at achievement as far as NWA goes, and those are the next slides we cover. So for achievement, I do a deeper analysis than the growth. And the achievement is also based on the 2020 norms. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each slide. You have them, and if you have questions, certainly feel free to reach out to me. The numbers at the top, percent of students at or above average grit scores. So we're looking for as wide of a band as we can get on that. And the green and the blue are the bands that we want to be the highest. Those are the ones that translate typically based on NWA's linking studies into 3s and 4s on state exams. Anything that is in yellow is still considered at grade level. So greens and blues are above, yellow is at. So having students at or above grade level is great. Ideally, you want the biggest band area there. This kindergarten class came in at 84% at or above grade level. So they came in as one of the highest cohorts that we've had in a long time. They did not make the growth in achievement that we would want, typically, based on winter. But I also explained to you about what work we're doing on letters and science and community awareness, and really trying to get very strategic on that. And maybe we left a little bit on the table with comprehension and vocabulary development. And so now we're readjusting and making those adjustments. So we just have some thinking to do. The median achievement percentile, I put that on that first slide for you, just so you remember. So what we're looking at is where 50% of the students fall above and 50% of the students fall below. So anything between 40 and 60 is considered average. If we move above 60, then it's above average achievement. If it's below 40, it's below. Okay, I think we can go on to page 1. And I'll just let you take a look. And then grade 2. And we're just going to quickly flip through these.
So there's really good growth there. We have a supported class in grade 2 of regular education students that were not where they should be. And we really felt that putting them into perhaps the more mainstream second grade class would fail them because they didn't have the foundation that they needed. So they are in a smaller class with a teaching assistant, and it has made a difference.
And we looked at that class specifically, and that class itself as an individual teacher class by showing that. So
Yes.
it's demonstrated very positive.
Remarkable.
But across the grade level, it was strong. Fourth grade is another grade level that had some really strong data come forward in the winter.
Also has a supported classroom.
Look at the increase in blues and greens in that grade level. I mean, that was really fun. Fifth grade definitely held their own. Sixth grade started in strong, so in reading, and then just has not made the achievement or growth we would want, ideally, but also remembers, 6th, seventh and eighth grade are when hormones kick in, so, we have to always keep that in consideration also.
Very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seventh grade, really nice job. And there's ninth grade. And then in tenth grade, we moved to the PSAT, and it's just sat that last week, so. When do we get those, around, early July?
It must be when Maddie's gonna start sweating, you might, somewhere like late June, we'll be like, I don't know, Dad, I'm not sure when it came.
Yeah. Yes, so I can share those and that result of those. This is language usage. We don't begin assessing language usage until second grade. And again, second grade had very strong results for language. Third grade, we talked at length about language usage, and actually one of the summer curriculum proposals they put in place is to take a look at grammar within the talking writing program that was one of the, I would say it totally came out of NWA results, but it's part of the discussion that we. Fourth grade, again, is strong showing. I'd also like to remind the board that we're so small that one student changes our percentage point by more than one, right? So we have to also, we're looking at, maybe 1.2. For everyone. Which is one reason I put it in the sheet. So language usage, somehow was not administered in the fall. I think it was a changeover in administration and changeover in staff. So we don't have fall results. So we're just comparing. Okay, now we're to mathematics. Then second grade there, doing the
What happened in first grade? That seems to be, all the other grades seem like they're pretty much, they're staying stable or the same. Was there first grade was kind of like.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, you know, first grade next year, the benefit from this school program at second grade, as well as I think if we could double up on summer programming for any grade level, that would be the grade level that I would want to double up on summer.
I think that, when we get the building year, we're hoping that this is marking.
And the first grade last year, kindergarten, we knew they were doing hopeful that you and hasn't been doing it. But what time did you start really getting involved in sports and other activities?
School sponsored sports?
Yeah.
Seventh grade.
Seventh grade.
So, we're at mathematics in ninth grade, and I do want to talk a little bit about that because that starts to differ. So you see the winter score up there this fall, but you don't see another winter for 2023. And that reason is because in ninth grade, they are starting a regional sports program. So, you really can't even compare winter 2022 to fall 2022 because fall is a geometry-based assessment. It's not a general mathematics assessment. And the reason we do that is we want to work on the curriculum, we want to assess the curriculum that the students are working on so that the teachers can understand where they need to spend more of their instruction time and how to support individuals. So ninth grade actually will be getting their geometry only twice, and they did it just, they're probably, I talked to Ellen Slocum, I think she's looking at next week, maybe the week after, and she will use that to drive her region. So you do it only twice, you do it in the fall to help the teacher understand what geometry skills they're coming in with, and then we do it right before region so that the teacher can support the students on what areas they need. And science, we start at grade 6. Typically, our students enter NWA testing in grade 6, really strong in science. So our elementary program is preparing them well for science. And we see that in that way. But I would like to see 8th grade science stronger, but I was encouraged to see a few more students in the and an increase of the whole group on the average. So that's NWA. The next measure we look at is reducing 10% of the number of students who have 18 or more absences per year. This is a measure that we made great progress with last year, and we're going to see the same on the next slide this year. So the gray box is 2019. We use that as our benchmark year. I don't ever want to get rid of that at this point because that factors into this. We were seeing an increase in attendance issues, which I know the board has been well aware of, has always been conscious of the high time about school attendance. So we're starting to see somewhat of a concerning increase, and that's our benchmark year. So we've been really working together. I feel the board, administration, teachers, and even fellow students on these things. So in 2020, 2020, those were our percentages, very high. And this is fall semester only, so very high.
Ginger, can I ask a question? Why are we using 2019 as our baseline when prior year, 2018 was actually pretty good?
Because 2019 was that cusp. So this is fall semester, so I'm using it as our base year, but kept 2018 in there because that was right up to COVID.
Okay,
Okay, so right up to COVID, so we can't just say COVID is the issue,
okay,
okay? Because our fall semester 2019, maybe COVID was in our world. I think it probably was, we didn't know, but we weren't really, you know, we didn't know what we did. So right up to that, we were experiencing attendance fairly significantly if you look at those percentages. So we wind it down, obviously, we wind it down from what it was even the fall. So 2020 data is there. That's the fall semester of COVID, and then 2021, we made some gains. We saw the arrows and the lightning bolts there last year. I was really pleased about that. And we continue to be on that down. I believe that some of the work we've done with the committee, as well as the counselors that support attendance, has been a real positive. That is funded through our American Recovery Fund. I would say to you as a board, you may want to heavily consider continuing that after next year because the data supports that. And there's another way to look at that. So I just took the client who absent and looked at the decreases by percentage. Pretty high percentages, so I think why that is only measured, but you know, that's a pretty dramatic, I guess.
Why would we include field trip?
Why would we include?
School approved field trip.
Yes, because that's how our schools have it. So just to be consistent on how it. We could look at it a different way if we wanted to, but that's how we were looking at it.
Because if they're on field trip, we don't mark them absent. School, right?
We mark them as education. So they did excuse the absence.
In the elementary school.
With the percentages though, the numbers kind of skewed a little because enrollment is declining. And you're having less kids absent, so percentage theoretically could be a little less because you have less kids to start. You know, 647 and 18, 553 and 22. You know, 627 and 498. So yeah, it's down 12%, but you have less kids really that were absent.
Right,
So
right,
I
which
think
is,
theoretically the percentage should be a
which
little
is
less.
part of what
If
we
you make
do.
a level number.
Right, we don't have a level. Anyone at this point is like a 1.3.
Right, that's the.
Where I used to be able to say to you, you know, we could have cohorts of 100 and we could give them every percentage point as a student.
Right.
Can't do that. So the last one, not the last one, but the last academic one is 75% of all students will pass all of their classes. And I was really pleased with this number, 74.5%. Percent of our 7 through 12 students were passing classes, all their classes at the end of the first semester. Remember, our goal was 75%, so we're almost there. And last year was 70%. So we've made some progress and we continue to make progress. That equates to 59 students failing just one class. Grade 7 9, and 12 met or exceed that 75%. Last year, only grade 12 did. Grade 8, 10, and 11 have room for growth, but the percentages were not that far off. 2 to 4 more students at each of those grade levels would have moved. At 7 through 12, 41 students are considered at risk. That means they have 3 or more failures, which is 8.2%. At the end of fall last year, it was 13, so I think that's a fairly good difference there. And also for my remind that we have about 25% during our remote instruction here where they come back. So that's really good. And the last one is 100% of our 5 to 12 students are connected with at least one adult at time. This data is not surprising to me. This is something that I know every single school is dealing with. We've talked about it multiple times as a board. The way we asked it back in 2021 was there is at least one adult in the building who cares about me. At that point, the combined elementary and secondary level of 154 responses, we had 99% that say yes. This time, when we did this recently, we asked the question, I've had at least one trusted adult in the school that I know I can go to for their people. So very excited, 81.2% of this, 64.1% out of 190. So work to do, but not horribly surprising based on what we've heard. The newspapers are all over it, and yeah, our students do not feel the connection that they had. That I believe that will come up by June, because we have done a lot of great work in this direction this year. And I believe our students have room to grow, but I don't think there's much difference. And just a reminder of our targets. Any questions for me?
Student survey in person, that's for,
We did this about February.
another one of those,
Roles have another one again. And the question should stay the same, which, that's why I put those questions up, because you could interpret those 2 questions a little bit differently.
Anonymous?
Yes.
You really don't know which one. You can't reach out to those kids until like they don't have it.
Not in this one. We have done other surveys where we have, and we've asked them actually, maybe no, and done, and definitely.
Like, still doing it with an advisory group?
We are, we didn't get started for that until late. There was some revisions on it, and I think there probably will be some more revisions as we move.
Yeah, we have it. We were trying to focus this year on equity. And so providing some more specific lesson plans for teachers, because I think that people were kind of all over the place with what they were doing. They have a set lesson plan. They also have some set questions to help guide discussion. Obviously, we want them to veer off if they can. We also had, I think in the past, they had like a lottery and they had the teachers kind of put together their advisory. And I felt like with so many staff this year, it was important to kind of spread out all of our kids across the advisory, so we had some, you know, some real strong leaders in each of them, and so I think that that has kind of helped with some of those things. You know, it was kind of disappointing, we did have to cancel advisory last week, so we're trying to do it every other week, just as we're trying to get ready for end of the year stuff too, so not to overwhelm things too much. So I would say that the kids are involved. We have 3 kids that were straight up just go to their advisory, did not feel any connection. So that's become Mr. Hutchinson's advisory. And so he's actually doing the advisory lesson plan with them. And I think they're more engaged than they would have been if we forced them to stay where they were. So that has been a positive thing.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Okay, so we're watching the governor's budget very closely in that progression. And seeing, as they say, what is taking up the air in the room. As they discuss different proposals, and it seems like they're stuck on a couple of items. And in talking with Edie Barrett's office last week, you know, they're very busy doing that because we have a couple of meetings set up with some folks, and we're trying to get our interests in front of them. One of the things that we are talking about is housing. On several different levels. And we've also been very busy with staffing decisions, going through section load reports, looking at where we are spending our money and our resources. We've also done quite a bit in the safety area. As you know, a week or 2 ago, there was a lot of social media threats, there's some anonymous emails, and the term that everyone's using, swatting. So that has been on everybody's radar, how to deal with those and what to do when those occur, and what kind of protocols to follow in order to keep everyone safe during those periods. Also, the county is getting into threat assessment meetings on individuals, and Tonic Hills is represented on the Intelligence Committee. And so we are sharing information. That is everyone in the community as we share information on not only students, parents, faculty members, anyone that could be, for whatever reason, be in a bad state of mind and could be perceived as a threat. And it's just keep everyone safe. That's it. That's it.
Thank you. All right, so we got the Board of Education member activities reports. So let's start with activities first. Anyone got anything? Games, Success Fest. So Terry, I, and Molly were at Success Fest. It was fun. I mean, I wish there was a little bit better of a turnout, but it went well. The trades came and they seemed interested enough to come back for June 2nd. So they all seem very excited about that. So I was talking to the state keepers. I got some of the cards. If anybody wants information, something like it, and get engaged, involved in trade and in public service at an earlier age. But their starting salary is close to $60,000 a year. That's pretty good, you know? So there was some frozen banana, chocolate covered frozen bananas around them. Owen was walking around with them. He was the advertisement for those.
We're very well represented. 25 students.
Very nice. All right, so next up is the school board conference that we went to in Orlando. So before I have you guys start doing your report out, I just want to say thank you to the board members for paying for your own transportation down there. You know, I think that was fair enough. You know, if we were going to go to the New York State one, we would have room and board anyway. So the fact that you spent your own money for the transportation, meant that was important to you. I know it was important to me as well. And this was by far the best conference that I've ever gone to. It had a lot of great information. Okay, with that being said, you're up.
First of all, it was a great time, but, you have to deal with the weather, it's Orlando, so, it was rough. I got to admit, it was not as easy as I thought it was gonna be, but, you do these hardships for things you love. But it actually was a great conference, place is absolutely huge, you could probably hold 4 or 5 conferences at the same time, it's massive. I think a bus just to get around the place. My first event I took was called Masterclass Crisis Communications, because the court of public opinion is always in session. And this guy's name was Bruce Hennis, he has Hennis Communications, and it was excellent. And he was just saying that when you're in trouble, he goes, lawyers, he's talking about, he's an attorney himself, he said lawyers tend to say, don't say a word, be quiet, keep your mouth shut. And he said that's the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do. If you're in trouble, there's a situation where you're getting sued or those kind of things, you get out where it's gonna happen, you get out in front of it. Say you're sorry, you're gonna pay, but at least by public opinion, when they read that, oh, who said so-and-so, we're sorry, they made a mistake, this is what's gonna happen, then the public tends to back up. If not, then what happens is they'll start doing their gossiping, doing their Facebook, subscribing and things break down. For Janelle Carter, she plays the principal in
Janelle James, I'm sorry, Janelle James.
No, I can't remember my own.
She's from Abbott Elementary, the show.
Yeah, she plays the principal, and she was very funny, incredibly funny. They were trying to interview her like as if she really actually knew about education, which was kind of odd. She's like, I'm just a comedian, but it was very entertaining. They had an exhibit hall where they had all these different products. Because food is always, I don't know why it's always foremost in my mind. Lunch, and they had this thing where you could have school lunches, but from different areas of the world, and it's all meets the requirements, so many grams of protein, so many carbohydrates, that kind of. That was really excellent.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. In fact, it was much better than the food that was at the restaurant. They had like stale chicken sandwich. I was like, no thanks, I'll pass. When I pass on a meal, there's a problem. Then one of my favorite classes was a thing called, they have these sky schools, they call them, and it's all about breathing, and what they do is they basically do some kind of like meditation, not meditation, but it's just, controlled breathing for 20 minutes prior to, and they do it for every kid in the school, every kid does it at the same time, and their numbers of conflicts and issues drop like tremendously when they do this program. And I tried it, and I honestly, I was like, oh yeah, I'll do this. But I start breathing. Next thing I know, I'm like tingling. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, we told you not to do that.
Yeah. But then I decided I don't want to look like an idiot in front of everybody. So, but I've done it, and it really is amazing how it calms you down. I'm not usually one of those, alternative thinkers, but that particular case, it really worked, and it was really impressive. And so I listen. They said the first time you try and introduce that to your school, everybody just says, yeah, okay. But he goes, once you get that first person, the second, the third person, and all of a sudden they all realize that it's working, it starts spreading. So it's just something to consider, but it was just an excellent thing to learn.
There was actually a 9th grader who came and presented to the entire group, and had us all sitting there during the debrief.
Yeah, she was like college for me. Most people, they go up, they're gonna start panicking on all these people. Not her, she was college for me. Impressive. Then we saw Jenna Bush Hager, president's daughter, who I was very impressed by. I've never been a huge Bush supporter personally, but that being said, I really enjoyed what she had to say. She had a lot of self-deprecating humor, talking about how she's a big avid reader and her family's an avid reader, even though no one thought her father could read. It was pretty funny. I mean, she had a good sense of humor.
Alicia and I were both crying. You could do this very, made everybody
Yeah.
very.
Yeah, she was pretty cool. Even though she said she was the bad daughter. She was the one that got in trouble all the time, putting in the magazines, doing whatever.
He made a comment when she got hired for her first job or whatever, that somebody told her, somebody that hired the bad.
That. That's a bad one, yeah.
Then I went to a class called, and I thought it was gonna be different. It was, equity for rural students, urgent need to fix the digital divide. I thought it was gonna be just about, you know, the internet and getting hooked up with all that stuff. But compared to some of the other states, I trust me when I tell you, we are in much better shape than most. There was a place in Alaska, first of all, like the side of Rhode Island, like a school district, they had to fly into classes. And on top of that, when COVID hit, they had to learn by marine radio. That's how they learned classes, you know, like they over, you know, I mean, I can't even imagine. You know, there was no video, there's no, none of that stuff. It was just all on over radio that, you know, bring a link to them. That's amazing to me. It was nice to see with me, but it wasn't really the time to argue. And then, the last class I took was, well, first of all, the story I had, first of all, this place is huge. So the class was supposed to be class West Wing, class 308, CD. But of course, I was just happy I thought W308 ended up being a different class altogether because of AB. I went into this class, I was going to take a class on pre-K, you know, primary learning, that kind of thing. And it turns out that I was in another class about, you know, like doing high school, you know, working with companies and working with them. But I was too embarrassed to leave at the point when I realized, oh, this is not it. And I'm like, okay, that's gonna look odd walking out. So I'm like, what's the difference? And it actually ended up being pretty good. It's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Sounds like Milwaukee. They can't come up with a name. And they actually have a program called Insight, and they team up with companies in the Wisconsin area, and they actually take them in as interns, and they get college credits for it, because the colleges and local colleges have to get involved with it. And they say it's actually better than the, what do you call it, the advanced placement. They said that it's not that you're giving up advanced placement, they have advanced placement still, but they said these things tend to be more spot on as to what the kids want to learn. And then they take it into college, and they've already got, like the one lady talking, she had a year and a half of college is paid for, already done. And they got credit, her daughter. So I thought it was pretty impressive. But I had a great time. You know, again, suffered to Orlando. It was okay, you know, we did the best we could. We were tight and strong. And that's about it.
Thank you, Ron. That was very interesting.
So you know, be quiet and shut.
All right, so I took, tell you all the ones I took. I took federal update from DRG Group. So retaining teachers in a competitive market. I took stability, how to keep the conversation productive when feelings are strong. Superintendent selection, right process. Understanding the impact of implicit bias on leadership. Where did all the coaches go? That was a good one. Technology is changing the way, it's changing everything, understanding the growth, generational divide powered by technology, and reestablishing trust with the community in the midst of turmoil and hardship. Class study. So two that really stood out with me and was this federal update from the VRG. The VRG group was a lobbyist group, and they explained a lot about the House, the Senate, majority, minority leaders, and this and that, and, you know, when you have, majority is by 9, and that they go and vote and things, and we think we have problems with absentees with the kids and employees. The problem with the government is, people don't show up to work. And everybody always blames that something didn't pass, but sometimes they don't have enough to even pass anything. So that's what I got out of that. And the other one was, I really liked was, understanding the impact of implicit bias on leadership. Wasn't even close to what I thought it was gonna be. But like Ron said, stay and you listen, class was amazing. The black gentleman teaching the class, and we had everybody was interacting, we did a whole bunch of tasks. Then he stands up and he says, yeah, he says, I'm tall, I'm black. Pick me first for basketball, right? He said, no. He says, I can't dribble. He says, if I run, I definitely can't dribble. He says, so pretty much what the thing was is somebody would construe that as racist, but most of the time people confuse racist with bias. That's just being biased when you assume something like that. It was a very good class. Again, these conferences for our professional development, it's very important that we go, the knowledge we gain, the people you talk to from other parts of the country, what's going on in their schools and stuff, kind of kills it strong. Compared to these other schools. Cuts they're making, things they're doing, double-digit levies. Kind of kills it always been strong. And Ron, by the way, the science on that breathing exercise, it increases the oxygen in the blood.
Who you are gonna learn even tonight. Oxygen, blood.
You know, and thank the district for letting us go to these things, because it's very important.
One of the ones, I mean, we went 4 or 5.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
We stayed right to the end. One I attended was called Life Ready Graduates. And they really emphasize that all means all. And we must create opportunities, not roadblocks for these students. And again, it really has a lot to, Bonnie's always talking about trades, which is really important, I think, especially in our school district. But they really talked about these kids that struggle in a regular core class, might not like the class, but they were emphasizing embedding the core classes in these to make these classes more fun.
Hands-on learning.
Hands-on learning.
The curriculum standards.
Yeah, they're like,
with
you're
hands-on
kind of
activities.
tricking the kids to actually enjoy.
And for the
what they're doing.
elementary, they were doing makerspace, which is what we do here.
Exactly.
So it's sort of, but they make do makerspace right on
All the way through.
up to 9th grade, I think. They didn't do it for high school.
Was it? To get the kids,
And that was the school that had the Life Ready.
yes,
Ready.
yes, that was very cool.
That was Oklahoma.
Did that
Life
was-
Skill Program.
That was, I mean, I just thought that was amazing. And they also really, this particular school thought it was important to introduce these tech classes earlier than high school, like start in 7th and 8th grade, to really get them engaged. A couple other things that I thought were fun, from a few different schools. They did a day where they did an admin switch, where say Lisa would go in the cafeteria and switch with like Pam or something, so, you know, just to make it kind of funny for the kids. And then another thing was, I can't remember what it was, but they do a back to school expo. And it takes place a couple days before school starts, and the school reaches out to the community to, I mean, obviously there's so many over, and to bring families into the school to let them know what the kids are going to be expected to do in the next year, what the families need to know
for that next year. And they even had people come, people volunteer to cut the kids' hair, for example. For, you know, they reached out to whatever, all the barbers and hairdressers or whatever, for these little kids to get a free haircut. I mean, how cool is that? So it's that kind of thing that I really think we need to engage our. He's laughing.
I thought he was.
I have a very sharp hair.
There you go. So, I mean, there's a lot more, but those are the things.
So I attended several sessions. Probably one of my favorites was Superintendent Sean Buchanan from Erie, Oklahoma. It was about building connections. And during the session, he had us all take out our cell phone and find somebody in our contact list that we care about and type, just so you know, I love you. And I thought that his point was, sometimes we don't tell the people we care about how much we care about them. And I think when people feel like they're valued or cared about, they work a little harder, they listen a little closer. So it's about building connections with students parents, with co-workers, with staff in the building. It's all very important, and it kind of goes along with us doing these conventions because we build connections with each other, which is also very important. And to go along with what Heidi said, with the hands-on learning, there were two exhibitors there that I thought were just so interesting. One was this, the Animage, which is an animated, it's an interactive anatomy table. Where,
Oh, that was cool.
yeah, it's so cool, where they,
use it as a nursing.
It was like a big table.
Yeah, it was like,
It was huge.
yeah, and they take a real cadaver, they take images from a real cadaver, and it's a large table, and you can just, manipulate it, and it was really cool. I have information on that if anyone's interested. And then, Flying Classroom does these, yeah, there's jazz kits, and they let me take
She
one.
waited to the end of the expo, they told her she comes back, we'll give it to her.
Yeah, this is actually a squid, and then there's another one here that's, it's a squid.
It's all mine.
So it's a STEM kit for kids, hands-on, and urban farming, greenhouse, and they have several others, so I have that information.
But I just wanted to add real quick, maybe my phone wasn't working when you sent me out. Thank you, guys.
Well, everybody, I texted my daughter and she's like.
So I went to several, I'm only gonna touch on two, actually three. So the one that I went to was called Increased Student Voice. So it's a school in Dearborn, Michigan, and they have the Student Advisory Council. So the superintendent, works very closely with this group. So, I mean, this school district had 14,000 kids, which, that's a lot of kids compared to us. But they had a group of about 20 kids, and they put them on like the strategic planning committee. They had them actually, I mean, we have Samantha here as our student liaison for the school board, but these students were really involved in making some decisions within the school district, which I thought was, I've always said our kids need a voice. So what they did is they picked like 20 kids, they started with team building, and so that they all kind of got along because they didn't know each other, 14,000 kids, they really didn't know each other. And then the superintendent used a lot of social media, so he would do these 1-minute videos and put them on TikTok or, but he kept in contact with students in the community with a WhatsApp. Have you ever heard of WhatsApp? I've used it a couple of times with some things that I've done. And he would just send out messages to them and just to really to engage them, keep them engaged in the school. They met during the day, which to me was key because some of these kids either had sports programs going on. So they met during the day. They were involved in some of the, they were stakeholders in what went on in the school. So they changed the food service in their school. They didn't like their cafeteria food and they were very instrumental and changing who they used for their cafeteria food. And actually it was one of the ones that we ate at every day. Once a month, they met with the superintendent to get the state of the union, but state of the school from the superintendent. He would fill them in on what was going on. And then what I liked is they really touched, the superintendent worked closely with politicians and he involved the students. So the students got a taste of how to be activists and how to advocate for their school district by going to our politicians. So anyway, I really love this program that they had there. That was one of the ones that I liked. The other one was, so I, along with Joe and Ron, I went to this thinking it was one thing and it ended up being something else. So it was called Partnering with Your Local Union. So I went there thinking it was, you know, one thing and it ended up being something different. So what it was, this is a school in Santa Fe, New Mexico. They had a 50 to 60% vacancy of teachers. They are now at 10%. And what they did, and they filled all their bilingual classes. So what they did was they used their COVID money to create a daycare on their premises for their teachers. So they were poaching teachers from all these other school districts because teachers were only having to pay for childcare $150 to $250. I want to say a month, but I could be wrong, and that might have been a week, well, whatever it was. So, but they used their COVID funds, and so they said, okay, so now we have to sustain this once the COVID funds go. So they did such a great job of this that the city of New Mexico, Santa Fe had asked him, hey, can you open this up to other people? And he's like, no, I'm just keeping this for my teachers. Like, this is what I'm doing. So he did such a great job that they gave him, so now they funded, the city of Santa Fe funds this for them in the school district. So they'll be able to continue that program. So then that day, he said they were about ready to break ground. They were gonna break ground on a 40 to 50 unit housing development that sat between two elementary schools, and they were gonna offer their teachers housing. So, you know, I mean, again, I would love to see that here. I do have some, my wheels are turning here, so hopefully I can. It was big, but still, I mean, you know, it's not something that's not doable. I mean, yeah. But the union was instrumental in helping this out. So the union would go and survey their members. What is it that we can do for you? You know, obviously these were the two biggest things, you know, daycare and their housing. And let's see, what else did they use? They raised their starting pay. They offered a retention stipend. So someone that retired or was going to retire, they offered them a stipend to stay. So I thought that was interesting. So, I mean, so they were trying to find ways to keep their teachers, and I thought they really did a great job of that. And one thing that the superintendent there said that I really liked about, and actually I emailed him afterwards and to get more information about all this stuff. He sent me a whole bunch of stuff. So he said, don't say no, figure out how to make it work. And I really like that sentiment because, you know, if you may not be able to make it work, but at least try. So Ron and I attended a session on the EV buses, and it was about getting the EPA grant and what you do from now. So we went to that. There was a first student representative there, and there was a woman from the EPA that was there that ran this workshop. And, you know, I wanted to ask them some questions of things that I had heard out there in the public, and I wanted to either dispel it or is it true? So one of the things is there are no stipulations to the money is ours. They scrap the buses, anything 2011 or less, they scrap them. The newer ones you can sell. In the fall, which, well, it's not really the fall because it just came out today, there's a second round of funding that's available. And there will be a third round in the day one said. So in talking to the first student guy, I asked him about these buses catching on fire. He said there has been no school bus that has burned. There have been a couple of public transportation buses that have gone on fire. The batteries, I asked him about batteries. He said there's software in these buses that detect. So he's telling me if the bus is out on the route and something's funny going on with the battery, there's software that immediately shuts that battery down. Not only does it shut that battery cell down, it sends a message to the dispatcher, hey, something wrong with this bus. So when it comes in, you can put it on, you know, get it fixed or whatever you need to do. The other thing is, which I thought was interesting, is that while the bus sits there, say over the weekend, or you can use it as a generator. So you can like sell the electric back to the grid. So I thought that was interesting. I never knew that. The dates, you can no longer purchase a diesel after 2027, 2035, your whole fleet needs to be electric. I asked about the weight of the buses. He says, actually, he goes, if you think about it, the weight of the bus is better for our students because the heavier vehicle is going to come out better in an accident situation. Ichabod Crane is not doing an infrastructure project. Right now, they're just talking, they're in the discussion phase. And Chatham is using a company to help them with their EPA grant. These are all facts that I've kind of went out there and talked to people who are either using these buses or, like I said, First Student. So First Student has got no skin in this game. He is contracted. So that's why I like talking to him, because he didn't have anything to gain from giving me the information that he gave me. And that's it for my report. All right.
I forgot about I was walking in a concourse and there was nobody. This vast place, there was nobody around. Walking, go back to the hotel, and here comes this gentleman. I look at him, and it happens to be the National School Board president. So I stopped and spoke to him.
National School Board president?
Yeah.
Oh, the one, oh, the guy, oh, yeah, okay.
My buddy Frank.
Your buddy Frank.
So I spoke to him a few minutes and I thanked him for his presentation and stuff with the MC and stuff, and thanked him for what he does and he thanked me for what he does. We chatted a little bit. But the reason I'm saying this is he looked at my thing and goes, "Oh, Joe from New York." Okay, Joe from New York. There's a lot of Joes in New York. 2 nights later, we're out after dinner. I'm standing there waiting for the Uber. That was another fun game. So I'm standing there and I'm looking, and there he is in normal plain street clothes with his wife. And then I said, "Hey, Frank, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, Joe from New York." So it was humbling that I spoke to him for 5 minutes and he remembered my name 2 weeks later. I just thought that was
Unforgettable.
yeah. a picture of me and him, but I didn't share it.
Oh, you
because-
did?
His wife took the picture. For some reason, I was talking. I don't know why. And his wife took the picture, and I looked like the thing on the meme. So I didn't share the picture on Facebook because I would have never heard the end of it.
Yeah, so now one of you mentioned the Megaton. There were these
Oh
people
boy,
that were dressed up as Ninja Turtles,
it's a superhero thing. or
lots of
something.
characters.
From little kids, the
They're
big
mixed in with
kids, the big
people.
grown-up kids.
Yeah. It was
Dressed
pretty
with
crazy.
all
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your reports. They were excellent. All right, now we have the building reports. We have elementary, Mary.
The elementary school has been very busy. We are currently in the middle of our ELAC assessments for grades 3 through 6. And these are now, for a few years now, we've been doing CBT, computer-based testing, so no more of the paper booklets or anything. So I really want to thank the IT department. You guys have done a really incredible job. It's a lot of hard work for them, and it's been very smooth. Also, at the same time, today we started a 3-day pre-K kindergarten screening event. And Ryan Proper set up a Google Doc, that Google form that the parents could fill out and choose their own time. We've always had problems in the past where we can't get people in. We've been doing this. We had quite a large number of parents today, and we have appointments booked for Tuesday and Wednesday. Our goal ultimately is to not have to do this in the summer. So then we are looking at a few more dates, possibly in May. But we've gotten a lot of kids in, and we are doing the testing. Nick and his guys have helped us by adjusting tables, moving things around for us. It's been fantastic. So again, thank you. And, we are, oh, also the high school accommodated us too, because I was like, well, we need a nurse for screening, so would you mind if one nurse ran the entire, district while we just took a nurse for screening? And Lisa was great about all of it. So everybody's been wonderful. The kids are doing very well. We've had it's just been a wonderful collaborative effort from a lot of the elementary faculty and staff and all of these other people. And we are looking forward to the math assessments, which will begin next week.
Gary, can you talk about the other, there's something going on the 25th? I was gonna mention it, and I'm like, no, Mary will.
Yeah, that is, what did you say?
Isn't it the 19th?
Well, the 19th, no, well, there's a 25th that you can go decorate a t-shirt or something with pins or,
T-shirts started today,
oh, it's today.
Yeah.
in the library in the makerspace. Beth is gonna have the stuff out, so if anybody did not get to decorate a T-shirt, it's still sitting there, you
Okay.
can do that, okay?
All right.
So we're having Pete, the author, I know him as Pete Hat, okay? Author. He has written other books, but that's the one I remember.
That's May 19th,
It's a
right?
series, and it is, and the kids are going to love it. They will each have their own shirt that they will have made prior, and it's based off of the kids' shirts decorating. Right, and I'm trying to think of I knew the name of the book, that it's one of the Pizza Cat books specifically.
Yeah,
that-
And
Yeah.
keep it count, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of.
Yeah, I heard it, I'm very impressed. Looking forward to it.
One of the other things, if you guys do come in that day, is that you will see some administrators from maybe even other building admin besides us two, having a conversation with an animated Pizza Cat. I didn't tell Mary yet, so.
I know, I'm like, what's this?
I said yes. I said Mary would be.
Well, Beth always has amazing ideas, and, it's always great for the kids. so.
Wait till it's over and then say.
Okay, we have,
So we started out April with our egg hunt in the Philmont Town Park. So there was a pretty large turnout of, elementary kids and middle school kids, which was really nice. Had staff that were there, they had a whole bunch of eggs, but we also had signed up people to get information about school attendance, how to update school tool and things like that. So we were talking to a lot of families. Mary and I both were there, as well as Sandra. Fred was there, so it was nice to get out into the community, and it was a beautiful day for that. Again, I'm gonna echo 7th and 8th grade ELA testing, the IT department, and I'm gonna add Karen Regina into that, has been a huge help. Because she helped get us all of our tickets and things like that, which our administrators were able to sort and get ready, so we didn't have to, spend hours upon hours doing that. All county band and choir was last week. Ichabod, it was a great turnout. Rebecca Miller, something great. They were out there. Our next community outreach is May 10th, and that one's going to focus on mental health and then how students and families are using other things to cope with their stress. So we're going to talk about vaping and drugs and how to kind of prevent that with our families. May 11th, our junior class is going to be going to Ellis Island, so I think that'll be a good opportunity for them to get out. If you have your dancing shoes, bring them May 20th. We'll be at Catamount for prom. Can't wait. Our senior celebrations start next week with May 6th. Our Dollar Scholar celebration is that night at 7 p.m. in the past.
what night, Lisa?
May 6th, so next Saturday night. Our spring concert season kicks off next week on May 2nd, which is crazy to think about. And then June 2nd, the College of Career Fest is actually growing. Aaron and Quinn came to me today. After Aaron was able to kind of talk to all the creative people on Saturday at Success Fest, they want to do some breakout rooms and they want some other things. To have
Did they
set up.
contact her already?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we've got a really good jump start on that. And then I just want to piggyback back, Ron. I was in an observation this year, and it was a 7th and 8th grade class, and all of a sudden they're like, all right, now we're going to do our 5 minutes of meditation. And I looked around and I had no idea what to do. And all the kids cleared off their desks and they started closing their eyes. Some of them were doing things with their hands and things like that. But it does work. I mean, the kids, they were able to take those 5-minute breaks. And
Ron's gonna lead us all next week.
I can't wait, but it does work, so.
I just gotta get my robe
Don't do that, Ron.
So that's great.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Thank you. Sandra?
I'm going to keep it really short, because of the presentation, but, one thing that I would like to say is nothing makes the day more than when a student comes in on a Monday morning and thanks you up and down for a success. So when that happens, that's when you know, no matter how much work it took, and it was probably. I do those pictures. Really fun. I also have a beautiful picture of Bonnie leaving a seagull over. If you like that sometimes.
I would like that.
Find out all the time. I'm like breaking one.
Writing down.
No, seriously. Many, many. Thanks.
Brooke McComb, who was a former student, she really did an excellent job. She was amazing.
Really appreciate, I mean. Next event, that's coming up that I'd like to promote is the fun golf tournament. If you're a golfer and it's here at
We just started that. Golfing? Oh, no, we might not finish till dark.
It's only a 9-hole. I think, I am not a golfer either. Yes, only a 9-hole, it's kind of a fun event. You're all interested, I have information, and that'd be amazing.
Is there a prize for high school?
Yes, you do, high score and low.
Thank you, Sandra. You're welcome. Civil business officer.
I've been working with Pam on our reapplication for the community eligibility provision for free meals for all students. Believe it or not, it's been 4 years since they originally applied for that. So at this time, based on about 1,043 students, 657 of them received some form of public assistance. So that's 62% of our population. But last week in our meeting, when we talked about enrollment and we talked about how due to community eligibility, students don't need to fill out and their families don't need to fill out the free and reduced price lunch applications anymore. We know that that number is actually higher because there are families in need who are not on public assistance. So
Well, the number you had up there was like 40-something%, right? But
Right.
it's actually 60.
right, it's
Wow.
artificially deflated for sure. So you take that 62% and then you multiply it by 1.6. That likely puts us at 100% of our meals being reimbursed at the free rate for the next 4 years.
Wow.
So,
But then it's nice because of the reason.
correct, right. So, and we have prices for those meals for next year, but just for reference, for the last 4 years, only 70% of meals have been reimbursed at the free rate. So, you know, our needs continue to increase for our families. And Pam couldn't be here tonight, but she did bring in some meals of spaghetti and meatballs, and it can be microwaved. in the oven.
Meatballs on top of spaghetti and covered with cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, it's long.
Thank you, Sybil. Next up, Henry.
So hot off the presses, I have the PPS newsletter for April, and it's also posted on our website. So the first thing that's on the front is kind of statistics that compare September to now, so you get an idea of how busy the PPS office is. From September to now in April, there was a +10 increase in the number of IEPs. In addition, there was a 17 from 61 to 78, so a 17 more 504s in April than there were in September. And then the classification rates and the rate of change. We had this discussion about kids who are classified learning disabled, and we had a +5 increase from September to April. I added some pictures to the newsletter, and the first one comes from 2nd through 6th grade, and they welcome spring by working on a collaborative butterfly math skills mural. If you ever find yourself upstairs in the 5th and 6th grade wing outside of Lauren Mallon's room, you'll find this tree, and kids that were in her resource room worked on their math skills and created a really pretty butterfly mural, and put that on the wall. Also, kids in 2nd grade have been busy writing opinion letters on their favorite books. And if you're looking for recommendations, you can check them out upstairs in the elementary school. Students in 3rd grade have been working on writing argument essays where they develop a claim and provide reasons and examples to support their argument. And they've also been writing some essays on sharks, plushies, Walmart versus Target, and in the middle school, Mr. Malaya's middle school classroom began their 8-week program at High and Mighty. I know that you can't click on a piece of paper. There are QR codes. So if you scan that QR code, it gives you information about High and Mighty and then the Equine Advocate Sanctuary that we'll talk about with Ms. Roper's class. His students in the self-contained special education classroom will learn equine safety, horse handling, grooming, barn management, and working with a horse and using their body for communication. So it's equine therapy for those kids in 7th and 8th grade. And also all of the middle school students completed their New York State ELA assessment. Last Friday, Ms. Proper's class, her life skills class, her NISA alternative assessment class, took a field trip to the Equine Advocate Sanctuary, and the students were amazed by all the animals that have been rescued over the years. They learned about horses and how to care for them. The students interacted with many of the animals and showed great compassion for those animals that have been abused, and it was a wonderful experience for all of them. They are still working on a new name for our class. So instead of calling it the life skills class or the 12-1-3-1 alternative assessment class, I had asked Ms. Proper to ask them what they would like to name their class, either RISE or an acronym that they can think of. So they've been busy thinking about what they should name their class, and they're going to vote on that. And the students are beginning a new community access to the art, or CATA session. And this one will be focusing on music. So the community access to the arts will bring a musician, a professional musician, into the classroom and teach the kids music. They've also done theater in the past, art, sculpture, drama, you name it. They've come and worked with Beth Ann's class with it. And they also invited Melissa Macaluso to come in and teach a lesson on electricity, who is a woman from Class Art. And lastly, for our counseling department, Seal Smile came and provided services to over 105 of our students. And on Tuesday, a report was provided to the counseling office that showed that they outreached to our students who had urgent needs concerning or requiring immediate follow-up. And the organization Seal Smile was able to schedule appointments and provide transportation for families. And Seal Smile is an organization that provides free dental service to families throughout the community. And again, there are 2 QR codes if you want more information about community access to the arts or the Equine Advocate Sanctuary. You can click on those QR codes and they'll bring you right to that website and you can more.
Well, here, can I just have a couple, so like, you know, the changes here from September to April, is that kids like coming in or leaving that, so that's, I mean, it's not, okay.
Yeah, so in September, for example, we had 125 kids with IEPs. In April, we have 135, so that's a change of 10 students who received IEPs. Say for 504s is 17. More students received IEPs than, 504s than.
Did you have a question? Thanks. Nick.
I wanted to recognize Dave Simmons, who's retiring at the end of this week. He's one of our maintenance workers. And he's done a lot of quality work for the district. Right here in the hallway, there's frames that he built for the science symposium posters. Over in the science wing and over by the cafeteria, he has frames there. He built numerous, he's worked on the bus, which is great work. Lots of custom cabinets. You really can't go anywhere in this building without finding something that he probably had some, he built, so.
The concession stand out there, remember?
Yep. So I actually had a huge problem as people started to realize that he was going to retire because my inbox got flooded with requests for stuff that they wanted to hurry up and build before he left. So it just goes to show, you know, how important it is to have, you know, good tradespeople and be able to get those folks into positions like this. So we're going to miss them and wish them luck.
So today is Bus Driver Appreciation Day. So we spent today, appreciating what we have, our contracted drivers as well as our drivers. Before your bags, we teamed up with Nicer and they help provide us with, little tokens of appreciation to give out to everybody. As well as I went and got cupcakes and all the sweets, all the good things. I did get yelled at for not buying any sugar-free stuff, but I did get gluten-free, so, but, we appreciate everything that they do, the hard work, the hours that they put in, this time of year. We have a lot of field trips, talk about the equine trips, I think there's more field trips this year than I've seen in the last couple of years, even before COVID. So they are really pushing, working a lot, sports trips, long hours, again, we're going far away. So, that was our day, and nothing else really exciting to report except things are going well.
John, how are you?
I'm well, yourself? Yeah, thank you. Well, once a year, it has to get done. Well, I guess I like to report on things after the fact. So over break, we put in 30 new switches that were purchased through E-rate money, which is only about a third of the switches. We'll be working on replacing the others as we can get funds. The other thing we did was update our wireless system, and it was almost flawless. Most people, I mean, CBT is going well, so I'm not going to complain. I feel like I'm going to nix it, but you guys, Pete, okay, Pete the cat there is, it's not the IT department doing it, it is students. It is 4 students that are taking a DL class that are using animation, Adobe animation, to make Pete the cat come alive. So it's Beth and I kind of brought them along, and we're going to test it out here Thursday beforehand. So that's moving forward. And yes, I am interested in the anatomy table. So
It's so cool. It was, I think we stood there, all of us, for about 10 minutes, right? Playing with it.
Like
It was cool.
And then you see, it'll show you how the person died, remember that one?
Like the
Cancer,
cancer,
like the
yeah.
cancer, And she had screws around her eyeball, it was pretty much just amazing.
It was.
because
It was $80,000.
okay, so just so you know, the kids, just so you know, the kids at County Hills have a steam room. And in that, there is a T-shirt that they put on, and there's an app on an iPad, and you can see the anatomy of your friend.
I am sure.
Yes. So.
Pam's not here, but I already told you about the
No.
meatballs and spaghetti. Student liaison report, Samantha. Okay,
But
Tom's coming up.
play with prom. I want to say 6, and then here, everyone meets around 5 o'clock, and then we walk through. So then everyone's going to
I like that it's not very far to go, like instead of going all the way to Birch Hill. I
Oh,
kind of like that it's so
I think
close.
it's different
That's nice.
because it is, yeah, it's just like an easy trip. They're sweet that travel like far.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no.
That's
But,
nice.
yeah, so on May 1st is, decision day for college, so all of us seniors are going to be wearing either, our college of like where we're going, or, if someone's going into like a trade school kind of thing, so they can just like dress as to like what they're doing. And then we're gonna take, that's still what we're doing, so we're getting the yearbook cameras, and my friend and I are going around the school and with everyone, and like trying to get everyone, like, everyone's in college. I'm going to the Pulse, and
I was
there's
gonna ask you where you're going.
there's 4 of us,
Congratulations.
thank you, there's 4 of us that are going to, like, all of them.
The next meeting, bring your picture, so.
And then, we're gonna just hand out like little knickknacks and stuff, and there's like a book for.
Very nice. Thank you, Samantha. Okay, we have no old business at this time. New business, so we've already done the 5 stars, so back over to 3. I need a motion for the approval of the 2023-2024 payroll schedule. Motion. Joe, second. Barry, any questions? All in favor? You? Need a motion for the approval of property tax report card. Motion? Evan, second. Heidi? Any questions? All in favor? I need a motion for the approval of the hourly rate of pay of $18.50 for all the clerical and primary inspectors for the annual district election on May 15th. Terry, second. Evan? Any questions? All in favor? I need a motion for the approval of field trip to the FFA convention in Buffalo. Terry, second. Heidi? Any questions? All in favor? I need a motion for the approval of disposal of various bowling shirts and surplus baseball hats. Motion.
I feel wardrobe changing. Bowling shirt and a baseball hat, I'm good to go. When's the proper date?
Motion, Kevin, second. Ron? Why do we have? Oh, so they weren't like used, right? Oh, all right, 'cause that's what I was saying.
So was going in out?
Or give it a little league.
Oh,
That's
okay.
not, yeah, that's enough.
I guess that's all right.
Okay, all in favor? I need a motion for the acceptance of the independent auditor's report, which is this thing. I got, motion please, Kevin, second. Heidi? Any questions? All in favor? Yeah? And so I'm not reading this whole big resolution, but it's, I need a motion for the resolution for the emergency replacement of the vehicle for student transportation. Kevin, motion, second. Barry, any questions? All in favor? Yeah. Now we have donation. So we have a $50 gift card from Walmart. And then I know we talked about the cosmic bowling that Audrey and Colleen were putting on, and these were all the people that donated to that. Can I have a motion, please? Joe, second. Heidi, any questions? All in favor? Hey, do we have anybody for the second public forum?
No.
Additional items to discuss, I have a couple of things. One is about the update on the superintendent search. So last Thursday, we met with Questar to review applications. We received a total of 9 applications for our position. The board has narrowed the pool to 6 applicants to interview with us tomorrow and Thursday. We also plan to engage a stakeholder group for second round interviews during the week of May 8th. This group will be tasked with providing the board with feedback on candidates to rate answers to their questions and to provide comments on the strengths and weaknesses of individual candidates, as well as questions they would want us to ask as a follow-up. This information will be used to further narrow our candidate pool for the board's final round of interviews in mid-May. And the next thing I have is we have 3 seats up for the school board and only 2 people who are running for those 3 seats. So, we probably will get a write-in candidate. What I will suggest is anyone that wants to sit on the board, and I say this every year, it's more than coming to a meeting once a month and voting. You have to put the work in. There's committees that we have that does you know, pretty decent work. I mean, Terry with the legislative committee, she got some resolutions passed. So you have to be able to commit some time to this. It's not, it's more than just one day. So that's all I would say is, you know, just make sure that you're coming on this and that you know that it's a big responsibility to be a school board member. I know I take my job, my position seriously here, so that's all I would say if you're considering running for a school board.
It also provides a lot of support.
Provides a lot of- And it's a lot of education. I mean, it really is a lot of it. I know when I first got on, I remember, and I always say this, Sybil would be up there doing the budget thing and I would just be like, glazed right over, like, I have no idea. But now I know the process, but it's, you know, it's actually fine, but anyway. Okay, we're getting off my horse. So I need a motion going to executive session to talk about collective negotiation. Joe? Ron? Second? And on favor? Thank you. Thank you, everybody.